Caitlin Clark is going to miss tonight's game, and she's got a groin injury. I have been banging the drum online and on here for the last 2 weeks saying there's something wrong with her legs. There's something going on. Is it the nagging quad injury? But it's something to do with the lower half of her body. It is a groin injury. Now we've got an idea of why she's struggling from long range, where it requires,
The WNBA is currently in the middle of a growing crisis, and much of the attention is centered on one name, Caitlin Clark. The league's biggest star is once again sidelined, and the impact is already being felt. Viewership numbers are slipping, and frustration among fans is rising. At the same time, more and more questions are starting to surface about what's really happening behind the scenes. Is this simply a case of bad luck with injuries, or is there a deeper issue affecting the league? What you're about to see could completely reshape how you understand the current state of the WNBA.
And that is the news that Caitlin Clark is out with a groin injury. Now, if you guys have been watching the Indiana Fever and Caitlin Clark play over the past 3 games, it is very clear that Caitlin Clark is not feeling like Caitlin Clark. She has only made 1 3-pointer in her last 3 games, and even just last game, she only had 6 points. But it wasn't only her performance on the court that was worrying fans, it was also just her demeanor, her energy. It felt like something was wrong. She wasn't hyping up the crowd like she.
It began almost unnoticed, just a slight drop in her usual level of play. A few missed shots here and there, a bit less explosiveness in her movement. Then came the official update. Caitlin Clark had been ruled out due to a groin injury. This isn't the first time she's dealt with a setback this season either. Earlier, she was already sidelined with a quad issue, and now another injury has added to the list. Still, many fans felt something wasn't quite right even before the announcement, as her performance had already started to look a bit off.
Caitlin Clark is out again with an injury, which is the worst thing you can hear if you're a fan of the Indiana Fever, and really if you're a fan of the WNBA, because obviously Clark is the engine that makes the Indiana Fever go, and is the single biggest driver of interest in the WNBA, and it's not close. And anytime somebody is out of the lineup, you get concerned, especially when it's Clark, obviously, considering she had already been injured earlier this year and is now out with what is being dubbed a left groin issue.
In her most recent games, Caitlin Clark didn't quite look like her usual self. Her trademark deep 3-pointers were coming up short, and her rhythm seemed slightly off. Her energy also appeared to dip, fading as the games went on. Even her on-court body language felt different. There were fewer celebrations and a noticeable drop in intensity. At that point, fans weren't just concerned anymore. Many were convinced she was clearly dealing with pain and playing through discomfort.
Caitlin Clark out yet again with a left groin injury. Caitlin Clark will be missing tonight's game versus the Los Angeles Sparks. The venue will be open. Out with a left groin injury. We go from a quad to a quad to a groin.
But this is where the situation becomes controversial. Many fans argue that the issue goes beyond just injuries. They believe Caitlin Clark has been facing constant physical pressure on the court, heavy contact, tough screens, and aggressive defensive coverage night after night. Yet, in their view, the whistles haven't been coming consistently enough. Critics say the lack of foul calls has added to the problem, raising questions about how she's being officiated throughout the season.
Fever just lost a really tough game against the Los Angeles Sparks, and it comes back to the 4 things the Indiana Fever always have trouble with: missed layups, missed free throws, interior defense, and rebounding. That is why the Indiana Fever lost this game, and that's why they cannot be a championship team, in my opinion. You have to be able to get stops, you have to be able to rebound the basketball when you do force stops, but there was some positives in this game as well that we have to get into. Kelsey Mitchell was spectacular. I love to see her furthermore breaking her shooting slump. She had 20 points today on 44% shooting from the 3-point line, so you like to see her have 3 back-to-back games in a row where she's having over 20 points. She's totally in her groove.
Fans are refusing to stay silent. Across social media, frustration is rapidly building, with many arguing that the league is not doing enough to protect its biggest star. In their view, Caitlin Clark isn't just another player. She represents the face of the WNBA's new era and a major reason for its rising attention. Yet despite that, critics point out there has been little to no strong public response from the league. That silence, for many fans, is only adding more fuel to the debate.
Her pre-game routine, she was doing some things differently. Some fans also noticed that she had her upper left leg taped during a couple of those games. So there's a lot of things going on, a lot of things pointing to the fact that something wasn't right. And I have to be totally honest with you guys, I'm not surprised by this news at all. I was just having a conversation with my fiance last night and I told him, I was like, I think Caitlin's hurt. I'm not going to be surprised if sometime soon the Indiana Fever pulls her and sits her for a few games. I think she is still battling some sort of injury. And less than 12 hours later, the news dropped from the Fever.
Indiana Fever head coach Stephanie White described Caitlin Clark's status as day-to-day following the injury. However, for many fans, that update hasn't provided much comfort. With Clark out of the lineup, each missed game feels like a setback not just for the team, but for the league's overall momentum in the eyes of supporters.
Dealing with an injury, not looking like herself, the game is already out of hand, yet we still put her back in with 45 seconds left. How much patience do I need to have before I can start going nuclear? Because I am getting very frustrated with what I am seeing. To everybody that said Caitlin Clark didn't look like herself, salute to you. For everybody that said Caitlin Clark might be going through something, salute to you. Clearly, you all saw what that person that stands there like this can't.
Let's talk about impact. Since Caitlin Clark entered the league, ticket sales have surged, TV ratings have climbed, and arenas have been selling out at a much higher rate. To many observers, she didn't just join the WNBA, she changed its visibility and overall momentum. And now, with her absent from the lineup, some of those numbers appear to be slipping again.
Do look at it, and you take a look at the injury. Stephanie White spoke about it, so let me give you the latest. This all just came out, so this is all as I speak. Basically, Tony East, shout out to him. This is the video of Stephanie White discussing the Caitlin Clark injury.
With Caitlin, when did you guys find out about this groin injury, and how much of an absence do you expect from her beyond today?
Yeah, late last night. I think it's very much a day-to-day thing, how she responds to treatment. I stay in my lane and let our strength and conditioning and our physical, our AT staff do what they do best. But yeah, I found out late last night, and then we'll treat it later.
Critics argue the WNBA relies too heavily on one star instead of building the league as a whole, comparing it to a creator who goes viral once, but stops producing afterward. They say Caitlin Clark's arrival boosted visibility, ticket sales, and ratings, but also claim she now faces overly physical defense that isn't always properly officiated. The debate has intensified around her groin injury, with questions about how long she'll be out and what it means for upcoming events like the All-Star Game. Supporters say she's being unfairly targeted and needs better protection, while others see it as part of the game. There's also concern about her on-court consistency, especially her strong home shooting compared to struggles on the road, along with Indiana's depth issues, rebounding problems, and lack of stability away from home.